Karen Caritono.
Pam Stiles.
John MacArthur.
Wendy the Wallaby.
And I did that out of order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda review. I think we just need to add under non-public, an item C. C. Okay, that's it. A motion? I move we add an item under non-public. RSA 91A:3,
2C.
2C.
And I will second. Just write it
All in,
down.
any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimous. Minutes from January 13th.
Motion to approve the minutes from January 13th.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed unanimous. And minutes from February 1st. I move we, boy, I'm froggy, you make the motion.
Move to accept the minutes from February 1st.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, passed unanimous. And we will move on to public input. Any public input? All right, seeing none, we will close public input. Informational items. Starting with financials.
Our budget is looking good. Wendy, do you have anything of specifics you want to bring out?
I do not at this time.
Questions?
I had a question on page 9, Superintendent Office. Where are we? Other professional services, I'm assuming that's business administrator?
That is correct.
And is the reason why we're not putting that under business services?
There is no other professional services line
Line,
under
okay.
business administrator. So we decided to take it out there knowing that that's what it's for. But there, we don't have that option under business services.
And I also had a question on page 12. Food services, other personnel, which is the third line down. Just wondering why we're ahead of budget on that.
Other personnel, the second line after, the line right after salary
Oh,
director.
actually it would be the third line, so personnel without retirement, third line down.
Right. So we had a change in personnel there. So we had a position that we did not fill, which is the other personnel with retirement, the second line. And we hired or gave some additional hours, if you will, to the other personnel without retirement, but their salary is less than what had been budgeted for in trying to do some cost savings in food service. So it was one position not filled and another one that was continued but coming in less than what was budgeted. So one was going to offset the other.
Okay. Yes. Any other discussion? All right, moving on to enrollment.
We are up 4 from last month at the elementary school and up 1 at the high school.
Very interesting. Okay, moving on to reports, deliberative session review.
Just just giving you any time if you wanted to debrief from it. The meeting seemed to go very well.
Very fast. Yeah. I don't think we beat the record. We tried. Yeah, I think 2 years
No,
ago.
the school went quick.
Yeah, it was very, very quick.
Yep.
And thank you for all
44
your work on the
minutes.
presentation.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
I think that's one reason why it goes quick, because a lot of information is covered well and covers a lot of things people would have questions
Oh, I was
on.
gonna say the presentation was so long, that's probably what took so
Oh.
long. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It really was why though.
That's just because there's so many good things to say.
There is,
That's
exactly.
why.
That's right.
It was super nice to see a high school presentation
Yes.
too.
It was actually,
Yeah.
and just saying, the budget committee really, really appreciates that. Like, it really does make their job easier. They come in and it just wipes out so many of their questions about what's going on, and it's really awesome. And they talk about it. They really do. They talk about how nice it is to see that. So,
Nice.
thank you.
Yeah,
Nice
you're
work.
welcome.
Excellent. Thank you for missing the last meeting and representing us on the
Which was
town
really,
deliberative.
yeah, which was really funny because they said, "Wow, we never have a school board representative here for the town deliberative."
Oh, that's not true.
Nice.
I know, we were sitting there saying, well, we saw Peter walk by. That's where he is. Okay, so moving on to correspondence, which is mainly budget committee minutes and wellness committee minutes. Peter, do you have anything you want to share specifically about budget committee?
No, there's certainly nothing that impacts the school. There were only a couple of things that warranted any discussion at the school, at the town deliberative, and nothing changed, so.
All right, and wellness committee minutes speak for themselves, or do you have anything to add?
Everything is right there. We are going to start offering Zumba to the staff again. We have a person on staff who is certified, and so she's going to do it 2 afternoons a week. And we're just doing it like an after-school activity, but for staff instead of kids. And we had 16 signed up, but I understand there's more.
I think we may be pushing about 20.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very,
Very
very
well
well
so far.
received. And it came out of wellness committee and folks saying, yeah, we used to do this, and I've heard people might like to do it. Can we do it? Absolutely. Sent out a quick survey, and we had all kinds of folks signing up. So we're all set to go. They start, their first day is next Thursday, and they'll be running Mondays and Thursdays through the end of May.
Nice, great. Extra earn report. Any comments? Questions? Moving on to superintendent's report.
All right. We are in preparations for our second Discovery Day. We have 12 staff who will be offering presentations. I listed there for you all of the workshops that will be going on that day. They range from wellness, CPR, math, assessments, technology, all kinds of things. So I just want to thank all of the members who made proposals, and those workshops will be a go. Should be an excellent, excellent day. On January 22nd, we had the mid-year new staff luncheon, as has been the practice for a couple of years. And great feedback from the staff. That's feeling supported, very welcome. Just reviewed that with our leadership team. And they had some suggestions for us for dismissal and some insights that I think will be very helpful as well. So excellent luncheon, and a pleasure to spend the time with them. Joan Reese is leading a pre-K to 8 committee that is looking at our school-wide behaviors. Pre-K to 8, we're building off of the iSocial pyramid model, and the committee is fairly large. We have about 16 folks because it represents all the grade levels and the cohorts. Wonderful committee. We are well on the way to establishing benchmarks for common times, passing in hallways, lunchroom, recess, expected behaviors, and then they will build off of their particular classroom. So Joan's doing a great job, and we're very fortunate to have a leader of her ilk at the school. We will be having representatives from DOE at the SAU next week, just to do a routine check of our grants. They'll be there for a couple of hours. And it was a pleasure to attend the first robotics competition. We had a team of about 4 boys and Mr. McDuff. They did a great job. I had to put the picture there on the right. They did a lot of problem solving. They had some, I was going to say not to code, but not to specifications. Their controllers, and boy, people jumped right in and helped them out. And the excitement in the audience of cheering them on when they picked up those blocks was just awesome. So it was a great afternoon. Thank you.
I was just curious on Discovery Day, what is Appy Hour?
Scott Bickford is going to be offering a session, 2 of them, that looks at different apps and different web opportunities for teachers. And they'll have a chance to go in and play with them a little bit and check them out, and it will be in all content areas. Yeah.
Principal's report.
Mine is basically as noted, a couple things since then, since I submitted, would be the ice fishing trip is postponed till this Friday, weather permitting. And we're hoping everything is golden and that we can ice fish and it'll be fantastic. But no, it's been, as I'm sure you can see, like a typical busy February, and but great things happening, so.
Which grades are going ice fishing?
I believe it's middle school, 5 through 8.
Oh, wow, that's great, excellent. Still
Russ does a
disappointed
great
my
job.
boys never got to go the whole time they were here. Missed
So
it
do
every
I.
year.
But excellent, and he gets fish and game involved.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a
yeah.
wonderful
fun.
activity.
We were pretty much set. We were thinking about the original date. We were ready to rock it, and it's going to be cold, but it should be okay. And then we were getting closer. I'm like, I kept questions Russ, and Russ is like, let me contact Fish and Game. They took care of it for us. I said, no, you can't go out today. So this Friday,
Yep.
they're fishing.
But, that's just an example of staff being comfortable enough to say, do you think it would be possible if we could do that? I mean, I remember Russ asking the question, and it was just could we do that? And by making sure that the staff is supported enough to be comfortable to say, can we do that? The great ideas that come forward. I mean, this is what kids are going to remember, that they went ice fishing in school. Who does that?
I know for a while the 4th
Wow.
grade did
Yeah,
it
it was a
traditionally.
long-standing tradition
For the
when
4th grade,
Mr.
yeah.
Thornton was here. I have to give him credit.
Yeah.
Years and years and years and years and years. And then I think maybe that when the champion retired, it
Right.
sort of dipped for a while,
Yep.
but it's good to
It is
good to
be
see it back. I
Yes.
think that's a
I
great.
agree.
I'm excited because I couldn't go last Friday, but I can go this Friday.
All
so.
right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it is fun. I went last year. It was a good
Yep.
time.
Oh, you'll be joining Shay Castley. Will be going. I was like, she's like, yeah, I'm chaperoning that. I'm like, really? She didn't strike me as the type to fish, but she's gonna go give it a try.
Thank you. And Buildings and Grounds report speaks for itself.
Yep.
Busy as usual.
Yes.
Strategic plan update.
So you see no arrows there, which is a good thing. We have actively started the World Language Committee and have some, I think, very good ideas about how it's going to look. We have another meeting Thursday, I think. And probably in April, we'll come back to you with a proposal for how we want to move forward. But some very good ideas, I think, that you'll be excited about.
Excellent.
So, for your world language approach,
Yes.
is the idea kind of that you're going to be exposing the kids to different languages so that they can make a choice, or are they going to?
I guess we spill the beans early, huh?
Well,
yes.
I'm curious
I was curious
because I have
also.
and I
Okay,
have
all right.
something to go with it.
So what we're looking at, and we're in the early stages, but this is what we're looking at. calling the K to 4, we're not going to call it world language at K to 4, we're going to call it world investigations. And we're going to use the 5 C's of that's the way the curriculum is built in world languages. It's communication, culture, comparisons, communities, and another C. And so in the lower grades, they're going to focus on communities, on cultures, on that kind of thing, so that we're going to pinpoint different areas of the world for the different years and try to tie it as much as we can to the science curriculum. Mm-hmm. So if they're studying plants, let's say in 2nd grade, we could do comparative plants, and maybe their continent is Africa, and so they might learn a few Swahili words, or they might learn some different kinds. So in the K to 4, they're going to have an exposure to the different cultures, some maybe greetings, some words from the different countries. Then in 5 through 8, they're going to jump into Spanish, but in 8th grade, we will offer last period, right? Last period?
When?
Yeah, last period. We're going to offer Spanish 1 to those students who would like to get a jump on Spanish 2 at the high school. And we'll let them do that so they can take a accredited course, so they can actually take algebra and Spanish 1 for credit here before they get to the high school. Mm-hmm. So we're in the beginning throes, but that's where we are right now.
And I do have, I have a meeting set up with Jay Fitzpatrick on Wednesday, talking about expanding horizons, and also just getting on the ground a little bit for doing a Spanish 1 down here that's aligned with what they're getting up there. So potentially our students could go into a Spanish 2 when they get to high school that have successfully completed it down here.
Yep.
Is there any?
Which is something else that was done in the past, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we want to bring it back.
Yeah.
Has there been discussion about adding French in 8th grade?
Yes, I was just going to ask that.
Well,
So there are options?
we
for
don't have a certified French teacher. She's certified in 1 language, in Spanish. However, she's self-teaching herself French. So we can expose the kids. We were talking about maybe doing 5, 6 as kind of romance languages, and doing the Italian, the French, the Spanish and such. They're so similar. And then the 7 and 8, more real Spanish conversation. But we don't have a certified French teacher, so we can't offer French just as French. But we can add it culturally, if you will. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
And this is like a little off the cuff, but what would be ideal is if we get the expanding horizons going, and there was a French 1 being offered, that they could, as their expanding horizons course, go take that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe they could go into high school.
Right.
I haven't met with
Yeah.
them yet to like unload this stuff yet, but
That
I mean,
would be great, because,
Right.
French is obviously very popular in this
Right?
Yes.
part of the world, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part
Yeah.
of America, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other one I was thinking about is, and selfishly, this is because this is what my daughter was really interested in, was American Sign Language as another option.
Yep.
I was wondering if that's something we could start offering in after-school programs, or some preliminary
BLAS,
language
maybe.
courses, American Sign Language, or some other language drawing from the community.
Sure,
And
if people can.
Then it wouldn't
offer
need to be certified, but it would
No.
give kids an opportunity to be exposed to other languages besides Spanish.
Absolutely, and our Spanish teacher would be able to do that in French soon.
Yeah.
She's teaching herself very well.
not only is she speaking to me in Spanish like 90% of the time, but that other 10% that was English is
French.
becoming French.
Yeah.
So.
So she could offer that as a club after school. We just can't do it as an official
Right.
class
Right.
here because of certification.
Good.
So we're looking at it all, but
And I
we'll
could
have
see
a
that being
nice,
something she'd be very interested in doing.
Yeah.
She's
we'll have a nice presentation for you.
Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. You've got to forget all that when we bring it forward, so you'll be so
Yeah,
surprised.
surprised.
I will be so surprised.
Okay. Action items.
Alrighty.
Moving on to the awarding the window bid.
So we had 4 companies bid on the project. We had the bid opening on Wednesday. Chip Kraus, our architect, was there, Sean Asdot, myself, Deb, and a couple of the contractors. The low bidder was LaPlante Builders for $78,357,000 plus the asbestos removal and some alternate windows, the fax windows as well. So this would be the complete project. All told, it's going to be about $116,000 for the project. He did come in at low bid. There were 2 higher bids, 2 lower bids. Chip has reached out to John just to make sure that he felt that that number was very solid. He did have a bid bond, and we've done work with John in the past.
When you say John, you mean LaPlante
John
Builders?
LaPlante, I'm so
Okay.
sorry, yes, John LaPlante. And Chip is very comfortable with giving the project to LaPlante Builders.
I move we award the window renovation to LaPlante Builders.
Second.
Any discussion? What does the 20 minus the 3 in the alternate 2 abatement column mean?
This is for the asbestos caulking around the windows that has to be done. And there is some consideration as to whether or not some of the windows are going to need it. And so he just factored in 3,000, possibly 3,000 less.
Okay.
But he put it in there just in case. I figured it in.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great,
Passed
thank you very
unanimous.
much. Thank you.
Okay, school calendar.
All right, so you have in your packets 2 calendars. One is before Labor Day, one is after Labor Day. Labor Day is going to fall on the latest possible day in September that it can. So if we start after Labor Day, which has been our practice for the last couple of years, the first student day will be on September 8th. That would put our last day on June 18th, which is not bad at all. If we go with before Labor Day, then our days will more carefully line up with the high schools. Now, I know that the high school has not approved their calendar yet, but in talking with the superintendent, his thought was that they will start like they have in the past, that the 9th graders will come in on the 26th of August, and then the rest of the students will come in on that Thursday, and then they'll have the long weekend. Let me back up on that for a minute, please. That would be their workshop days. The 9th graders will come in on September 2nd, and then the upperclassmen will come in on the 3rd, which would coincide with our before Labor Day start. But I know that, like I said, we have started after Labor Day. It doesn't put us tremendously late. And
Just to verbalize the dates that are in the packet, the before Labor Day start is September 2nd, correct, which is a Wednesday? And the after Labor Day start would be September
8th.
8th.
Correct.
Yeah, which is, yeah.
Right.
Do you have a? That feels late. That feels
It's
really
late.
late.
It's
Yeah.
late. We got Kingswood because the high school matches up theirs. They are starting on the 8th. The calendar from the DOE does not suggest a start date, so that's not a guidance. And again, if the high school starts when they typically start, and we started on the 2nd, then we would coincide. But we've been different for the last couple of years. It seems inevitable that we'll go into that next week in June because of snow days. We will have 5 days that we could waive, if you will, because we will have enough hours to do that. So, I mean, it's very possible that we could have our last day on the 18th, even if we have 5 snow days. If we have any more than that, we will have to go into that next week. So it's all what you're inclined to do.
And I think that alignment is helpful for some of our parents who happen to work at the high school and who have younger kids here at the school. I don't think parents of high school students, I don't think it's that important.
I agree.
Where it's only 2 days.
Yeah.
We had about 30, when we did the poll, we had about 30% of the respondents say that they really liked that really together calendar. But the overwhelming majority was they liked it after Labor Day.
Well,
So,
I've always been curious from the administration and teachers' perspective, having 2 days of school and then having a 4-day weekend, how that impacts the start of school. I mean, does it allow you to get some of the, nitty-gritty paperwork and getting
definitely
settled
does.
done and then you're back? Or is it just like you're starting twice over?
No, definitely,
As a parent, it feels like you're starting twice over, honestly.
definitely it's not like starting twice. It
it's a
can be
transition
beneficial.
period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
It gets them back in the swing of being in school. They figure out their lockers or their homeworks or their
Yep.
classes, everywhere they're going, depending on grades. But they would not be wasted and repeated if that's a concern at all.
And the Friday is off so that there's a
correct.
4-day weekend.
That's right.
that
We do
weekend.
that for Labor Day, yeah.
I'm leaning towards that earlier start.
Of the 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's in September.
Because
I'd like
it's
a
in
September
September,
start,
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I wouldn't want to make that our set thing to do going forward, though.
Right.
I would still want to look at starting after Labor Day with an earlier Labor Day.
Right. This one is so late.
Did the ATA have an opinion? One way or another?
I'll say mine. That gradual getting into school is nice, because those
Yeah.
first 2 days are meeting great expectations, paperwork, you give them a little dose, they get a weekend. I like it personally. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna speak on behalf of the ATM.
Well, it's well into September.
I think
mean,
we've grown accustomed to it.
Yeah.
It's been like that for a long time.
Which way?
Starting and then having a few days off.
Yeah.
What's that, Julie?
But the last
The
2
last few
years,
we
we've
haven't.
Oh, you
changed that to start after Labor Day.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julie asked if it affects attendance one way or another. I
It
don't
really
think it
didn't,
does.
no.
Families
First day of school.
rearrange.
First day of school, kids want to be here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's whether you do it before or after. It was the parents who were having the struggle.
Well, I think where we were going during the last week of August, it affected when people could take vacations typically.
Right.
So I move that we adopt the before Labor Day calendar.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Passed unanimous. Okay, we have a policy to look at, policy JBAB, transgender students.
All right, well, we have had the need to address this topic at ACS. And with that topic being brought up, we really do need a policy that is going to help guide the administration on how to best help teachers understand what the law is, what our students can avail themselves of, and how to best handle the discussion going forward. This policy is addressing the requirements under Title IX, which gives fair and equal access to all programs and activities and such for all students, free from discrimination, and that's what we're looking to do. This is primarily, 95% of this is from the New Hampshire School Board Association's model policy. And Wyndham also had a policy that gave a definition, if you will, that I think helped, and that is that last paragraph under purpose that kind of defines, if you will, the transgender qualification. The rest is required under Title IX. While it may be uncomfortable for some folks, this is the law, and this is the law. So we are working, John and I have been looking on how to best bring the school into compliance on how to make this a comfortable, safe, welcoming place for all students. And of course, restrooms come up as a question. And so we have identified 4 additional, like, single-user bathrooms that will be open to all students. We cannot specify for one segment of the population, but they will be open to all students. And we're working to kind of recraft some doors and accessibilities to make those available to all students. And so that's well underway. And John's going to be talking with the staff on how to approach the topic sensitively and in the right manner for students. So that is why we are bringing this forward to you.
Sounds very well thought out.
I think my impression was the policy is very thoughtfully written.
Thank you.
I think it does a good job of respecting the privacy of students, and also educating staff, and providing equality.
Mm-hmm.
I'll add that in my work, I was able to finally, the systems have come far enough that we were able to separate legal name, which is state reporting and gender, from what is displayed on report cards and what's displayed on Google and everything else for the kids. And it was really nice to get to that point this year where we could make that separation without the data flowing, incorrectly. So it's the system should be there by
Yes.
now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
taken a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does take time.
So I move we approve policy JBAB.
We're gonna go first and second
Yes.
reading? Good. And I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Passed
very much.
unanimous. And we will open up our second public input. Seeing none, we will,
I happen to have a close, I have to use the microphone?
yes.
Yep.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Julie Brown, and I happen to be close friends with a student who identifies as not sure about their gender at this point. And I know that there's been a lot of struggle this year, so I applaud the school board at taking steps in that direction. I still have some concerns as about how things are going to be adapted, especially in after-school programs, and making sure that all a student who's in the middle school who may have some gender questioning going on, if they're working with a kindergarten teacher who's doing an after-school program, to make sure that there's some sort of training done throughout the school, not just in the higher grades, so that there's apathy across the board, or empathy rather, not apathy. It's late. So I just wanted to applaud you for adapting, but cautionarily about making sure it applies to all programs and all staff. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Any more public input? Seeing none, we will close public input and move on to future agenda items.
I don't have any to add to the list that's already in the packet.
Okay, anybody else have any agenda items to add?
Nope.
All right, our next meeting date, we have no meeting in March, and our next meeting date will be April 13th, Monday, April 13th. Any other business? All right, I'll entertain a motion to enter non-public.
I move that we enter non-public under RSA 91A:3, item 2, C and D.
I will second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.